as Martin says, follow that. But on behalf of PCS, and I'm sure all of the other unions, nationally we pledge our support to the struggle in MMP and make sure we do everything we can to ensure that there's a just outcome to your dispute and that you get your jobs back, which is what you really deserve. I just want to say thanks. I mean, I know it's Liverpool, and I know you have a great tradition here, but it was brilliant going around the picket lines this morning. The level of support was amazing. Union after union, site after site. It was just so overwhelming, the level of support that there was. And you might have heard that for some strange reason the prison officers decided it was a good day to have car parks. And there's some off-duty police marching through London. We offered to steward the march and show them the inside of the kennel. I think they're stewarding themselves, actually. But it is interesting if you think about the range of support, who's next, because the doctors are unhappy with what's going on. And I think it's because we need to be confident that justice is on our side, that we are right with what we're doing. And we knew that we were in for a war, and what Francis Maud said this morning was that this action is futile. Far from it. There is not a deal, there is not an agreement on pensions, and we're determined that we'll carry on fighting and campaigning until there's a fair agreement. And if you look across the piece, although they tried to say it was just the PCS in December, there is no agreement in the civil service. Unite, NIPSA, ourselves, POA have not come to agreement on pensions. If you look in the health service, Unite, Unison have balloted and rejected the offer. If you look in teaching, UCU, NUT and NASUWT have not agreed. It's a majority of the unions representing a majority of the people have failed to come to agreement. And there's members saying that 68 is too late. And they say it's not affordable. Actually, I know it is. We were having the negotiations, and you have these Treasury calculators, you had to put the figures through. So we put through what would be keeping 65 due to the figures in the civil service. It came out, it could be afforded within the cost limit. Then the Quad, which is Cameron, Clegg, Osborne and Alexander, had a meeting that weekend and said, no, on principle, it's got to be state pension age. It doesn't matter whether you can afford it or not. And that's because their real objective is nothing to do with the affordability of the pension schemes. It is about privatisation and parcelling up. And also, you know, the 68 age, they say it's because people are living longer, and they ignore people being ill or in care and all of the other stuff. But actually they don't really want people to work to 68. You can conjure up images, can't you, of firefighters coming along and you have to help them up the ladder to get to the fire. And I was talking to some of our customs people about them inspecting lorries on their simmer frames. But actually what they want people to retire earlier on actuarially reduced pensions, so it's less, so that it's a win-win for them. People actually do work until they die, or they have to go earlier, and then it's a cheaper pension for them. So for us, today is not the end, it's the beginning of the next counter-offensive against this government and making sure that we come to a fair solution. So we will be talking to the other unions about further action in June and in the autumn. We want to build back the alliance as it was in November to make sure that all of the unions that have not settled are prepared to take action. With Unite, we're working for there to be a further major national demonstration in the summer on austerity, but making sure that we repeat the demonstration that the TUC called so long ago. But also, there's got to be a major political and parliamentary initiative. People think it's a done deal, but they introduced the bill yesterday to make law about what they're trying to do on pensions. And that's going to take a while, and we're going to make sure it's the hardest political fight they've got. And our campaign to stop the pension robbery bill, as we're dubbing it, begins now. And it's not just pensions. You might have heard these rumours about local pay, about what they want to do. We had a meeting with the Cabinet Office, and they explained their thinking about the zones for local pay. Yeah, it's London, inner and outer London. There's you'll be pleased to hear that Liverpool weren't included in any upper zone. There was Then this other zone which they had, Zone 3, which seemed to cover an awful lot of Liberal, Democrat and Conservative seats, or seats that they wanted to get further south than here. But what they're doing is actually using this as an excuse to make the inequalities in our society bigger and bigger than where they are at the moment. And we're just bringing out a booklet about inequality, the price of austerity. And you know, you say these slogans and then sometimes you see the figures, and I have to put my glasses on to read the figures, but they do just shock you when you actually see the 1% between 1970 and 2005, the top 1%, their pay went up by 694%. 20% per annum, their pay went up. The rest, your pay went up, the 19%, by 48% over those years, 1.37%. Now what does that mean in percentages? That means that top 1% got £690,000 worth of pay increases, where everyone else got £5,000 over that period. And that sort of inequality is what they're driving forward. And what really annoys me when you go and have the pleasure of meeting Francis Morden and these gangs, is they're not hit at all by any single thing they put forward. It's always someone else who has to take the pain. It's never them in their pensions and in their schemes who have to take it forward. And we know it's not the cost. We know it's not the money going forward. It's ideological. And I'm going to prove it to you. I'm going to let you into a bit of my private life. On the 1st of January, I was recovering from having had too much sparkling water the night before. And I don't know if you know that they release 30-year papers every new year. And this year, it just occurred to me actually that it was 30 years since the big civil service strike in 1981. So I went onto my new tablet and went to the National Archive to have a look and see what papers there were. And it was weird actually because they were all typewritten and had Tipp-Ex all over them. But the cabinet papers that were there, 1981, were what they should do about public sector pensions, what they should do about contributions levels, what they should do about the state pension age and the retirement age. This is not a new agenda. It's nothing to do with the financial crisis. It's been the Tory agenda about what they've wanted to do forever, and they're using the financial crisis as the cover for doing that. And in saying that, it's not even good economics. I mean, it is bonkers economics what they're seeking to do. Here we have youth unemployment going through the roof. And what are we saying as a solution to that, when unemployment is getting higher and higher, is to make people work longer. Actually, I think Hollande in France has not got a bad idea. Maybe reducing the age of retirement is a good way about getting jobs, because this is about growth. This is what we need as a solution, not about cuts and not about feathering the nest for other people. And so 68 is too late is not just a slogan. That's something we are determined that we will get them back around the negotiating table, and we will make sure there are changes. Because actually for many of us, speaking for myself personally anyway, yes, we will have a pension. We might have to work a bit longer. But the people who are going to be really, really hit are the next generation. The young people coming into work now who face the prospect of paying more to work till 70, 71 or 72 to get a reduced pension. And what will many of them do? Probably opt out of having pensions and then get to old age and not be able to look after themselves, their families and their dependents. And we know what this government is about. It's actually about destroying the welfare state. It's privatising it. They do want to privatise the health service. They want to privatise education. They want to privatise the civil service. And they are, you can see them queuing up. All of the companies in which these Tories are directors and so on are all the firms that are making bids or ready for bids to take over bits of the health service, bits of the civil service, bits of the education sector. So I think our job is, yes, to win this dispute and make sure the government doesn't get away with it. But actually it's to stop them in their tracks and make sure they don't destroy the welfare state that we've built, that we've had the pleasure of, and that we make sure that we determine that there is a welfare state for the next generation to take advantage of. And therefore, it's not over. Today is the beginning of the next stage of the campaign. You have been brilliant today, but we need to repeat this. One day they're not going to listen. We're going to need to take further action, and it's great that we've got UCU, it's great that we've got Unite, it's great that we've got RMT, but we need to get all of the other unions back taking action. And what November the 30th proved to me, apart from the fact that there's a brilliant generation of people out there who are prepared to take action, is that if we can do it once, we can do it again. And that's my pledge to you today, is that the PCS will work and work and work to ensure that we've got a big enough alliance to stop this government in its tracks and make sure you get a fair pension deal. Thanks very much for today.